because it's just now 5 o'clock. We can get started. So hi, everybody. We had a nice little break the last 2 weeks because I was in Colorado playing with Maria and Chris and Jane. We had a nice little get together and did some cool videos and workshop stuff, which I think we're going to talk about first tonight. So do you want to start, Maria, or do you want me to start? Or do you want to show your screen? You the presenter?
Did you make me the presenter?
Not yet.
Okay.
I got to find your other one that says Maria's.
Just Maria Boldry. Just do that one because that's the only one I'm in on.
Okay, that one doesn't show video though.
How about the Zoom is unable to detect camera, but I've always shown a Zoom on this one.
Yeah, on this one, it's not showing it.
Make sure that your camera is powered on, but I've always been able to show my screen on this computer. That's odd.
I've got about it without that. Pull it up on my email.
Hello there.
Hello.
This is Victoria from Las Vegas.
Hi, Victoria.
Hi. So good to see you.
Thanks. I'm gonna mute everybody just for the background. Maria, do you want to just pull up the email, or do you think you can pull the camera in? Maria?
I don't know how I've done it different in the past. I'm trying to get it to show and it won't. Start video, Alt-V. I got a ding, but it's not doing anything.
Well, all right, well, let's just start talking. And then if you can figure it out, I'll watch and see if your camera comes online. So when I was in Colorado, Maria and I were, we already had the intention. We just didn't know how soon we could pull it together. And we got a lot done actually together, and plus the stuff that we're going to work on separately. So I want to talk about, there's a lot more people on my email list than there was in September when we did the basic workshop. So first of all, if you're new to my email list and you're on this call, or someone else invited you to this call, we did a basic workshop, and I'm gonna tell you why I think that's important, because this is coming up so much right now. I wish I could do it, but I don't have her permission. I'm getting a lot of really good health questions and about, detox and basic healing stuff. And even when I was in Colorado, there was someone who texted me a very long text, and she had a rash that had come out all over her body, and it was quite uncomfortable for her. And this is a very normal response to a healing crisis or detox, which is like those kind of things we talk about in the basic workshop. I also had a text today from a husband of a Healy user, or I guess they're both Healy users. And I kind of wanted to cover it because for those of you that really you can know something about health, but let's say you don't really know very much about health, like what I'm seeing a lot of, and Maria can share if she's seeing the same thing, is I'm getting a lot of calls and emails about people's healing crises. They're using the Healy, and sometimes they're not having the best experience at first. But when they explain it to me, it's definitely a healing crisis. It's usually a rash. That's a very positive sign. Sometimes it's worms in the toilet, which I think we actually talked about on the last call. The rash is usually candida, especially if the rash is like under the arms and the groin area, on the butt, down the legs, or on the head or neck. That's almost always a sign of either candida or some other pathogen that your body is trying to detox. Most people don't look at that as a good sign. And just today I had a client come in and she says, well, I was doing this Ayurvedic thing and I was taking turmeric and I had this horrible reaction. And I said, what was the reaction? And she said, well, I had a rash under my arms and in my groin and down my legs coming from the crack in my butt. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. And she goes, no, it wasn't good. Everybody determined that I was having a reaction to turmeric. I'm like, I'm not buying it was a reaction to turmeric. That's a classic detox symptom. And then when I did my analysis of her, candida showed up. So I don't think everybody should just, like, if you have a negative reaction, especially with the Healy, I think that's why that basic workshop that we did is so important, because we go through a lot of explanations about how to use homeopathy, how to, what's a healing crisis? What do you do about a healing crisis? How do you distinguish a healing crisis from your normal symptoms? And that's the stuff that a lot of people are asking. And that's the stuff that, even if you're a regular, like let's say you're a nurse, that doesn't mean you understand natural healing.
Yeah, we have to remember to pick up now.
Okay. Everybody. I'm not saying anything negative against that. I'm just saying that it's a normal thing that people in natural health are used to. And so anyway, the basic workshop was in September. The recording's available. It was $169 and includes 2.5 days of lecture, PowerPoints, handouts, everything that goes with it. Everyone that did the course, there was 3 types of people Maria and I have determined. One was the people that couldn't leave their seat, not even to go to the bathroom. Like we heard that story from Chris and a few others. Then there were people that had to miss part of it, and they're still kind of going back to listen to that because you get the recordings. And then the third people are the people that are just like really busy and they couldn't really focus and they didn't follow through with like the handouts. And I'm just going to say to those people, you should go back and try to get through the material and the handouts, because everyone that was able to assess the handouts had an amazing experience, either their feedback or their improvements now, because now it's been over a month. Well, it seems like longer than that, but I guess are we just at a month later? Anyway, it seems like longer. Maria, you're going to have to unmute yourself, because when I hit mute all when people are talking around. Okay. So that's the thing about that. So what we decided with this next course, the advanced course, which is the one coming up the weekend of November 14th, 13th, 14th, 15th, is it's not basic. It's getting into the stuff that we use every day. It's getting into the effective stuff that we use with clients. It's getting into how to deal with the emotional stuff that's coming up for people, or how to think outside the box. What do we do when we don't have a remedy on hand? What do we do when we're trying to help someone in another state? What do we do when someone's in a crisis? So that's what the advanced workshop is about. It's definitely more hands-on. It did require us to be together. That's one of the reasons I went to Colorado, is so that we could get that part done. And that there's a lot of how-to videos, which will be presented in the workshop, but they're also going to be provided to you as separate individual videos, so that if you want to go back and watch just one technique, you don't have to listen to a whole 3 or 4 hour segment. And it's, between Maria and I, we have about 40 years of learning, education, experience, and knowledge. And just like most people that have done any kind of courses, I've done everything from my ND degree to matrix energetics to homeopathy courses, to energy medicine courses, to medical intuitive courses. I've done like a lot of courses. Maria's done equal in some of the same areas and some different areas. But what we did was we decided what we think is the best, the stuff that we put aside that don't ever use anymore. We're not going to teach you that stuff. We're going to teach you the stuff that we use like every day or almost every day or every week, depending on, what the situation with the client is. So we set the agenda by newsletter. And so you have the list of what's going to happen each day. If you have any questions about the agenda, we're going to put more description out. That was just like the initial thing that we wanted to get out, so you had enough time to plan. But if you have questions about that, please ask tonight, because we can answer your questions. Also, if you have not signed up, you can sign up. Now, this sign up is a little bit different than the last one. On the last one, some people signed up very late, and some people paid after the live event and they got the recordings, and that's fine. But this time, and I'm gonna let Maria talk about this a little bit more, I just want to say it's super important to sign up at least by the date of the workshop. Even if you're not going to watch it live, you're going to watch the thing recorded, because we're going to plug you into some really incredible work that we do with both Prosperity and then I do with New Vision. We're going to share all that information with you, whether you're a coach, whether you need help with success or manifesting or abundance or money or whatever. We're not only going to do it for you, like I'm going to do it for you with New Vision, but we're also going to give you those extra tools. But you will not be included in that from the beginning unless you sign up by the first day of the workshop, because me and my assistant are going to be working on the group as a whole, not as a whole, individually and as a group with your name, date of birth, place of birth, if you don't mind sharing that. We're going to work on you. And I'm also going to share what I'm doing with you so that you can use it with other people, whether you do it with Healy or some other way. I'm going to share all that with you. And then I want Maria to talk about her view of the workshop and also her abundance. I forgot what she calls it, but go ahead, Maria.
Attracting abundance. Well, we're super excited. We had so much fun. We could have probably spent 4 more days together full time.
Yep.
We spent one day, 12 hours, I think we were together, just videotaping things that we felt would be helpful to include in our PowerPoint presentations, because there were a lot of things that probably would have been helpful in that first one, to be able to go right to a video and say, here, this is what I'm talking about, and now I want to show you. And so that's what's going to happen with this one, is we're going to be talking about oh my gosh, water demonstrations on pH, so you know what water to drink. So all the way from that to making a remedy on a plate with the pink dot, that you can send someone using something as an identifier that you could broadcast to somebody. Gwen has this amazing software program called New Vision. And what she's going to do with all the participants of this new workshop, the Advanced Healing Workshop, is put everybody's information in, and then you know how you can broadcast or vibrate their blue dot resonance to people for a specific amount of time? Well, Gwen's software program that she either developed or co-developed, I'm not sure if you developed the whole thing, but I know you had a huge part in the platform. And what she can do is she can say, okay, out of every hour, I want 3 minutes of these groupings of frequencies to be vibrator, this energy pattern, whether it comes from quantum numbers or affirmations or scripture or whatever she decides to put in there, it will be sent to you, let's say 3 minutes out of every hour. So it's just like this little tap. It's just this little tap of information coming in to your information field that then transmutes down to a physical level. So you start thinking and acting in a conscious level for that. What we're going to do is we're going to focus on abundance, because all of us need to come out of that survival place, that kind of that place of just not feeling like we can do anything because we're trapped at home with masks on, or whatever that looks like in your world. Maybe you've lost your job. Maybe Healy's the only source of income at the moment, and you need to really focus on that. Or maybe you have other things working. You want to write a book or something else that you need to really spur you into the creativeness of doing that. That's what this is going to do. Every Monday after the call, you're going to receive an email that gives you some daily things that you can participate in purposefully. One of the first ones is you write a financial agreement with your spirit. You're going to say, this is what I'm doing. That's a letter that you will read to yourself every single day through the course of these 6 weeks. And that's just one thing. There are so many other things that are going to be given to you that to allow you to see money in a different way, because money is all around us all the time, but we get trapped into the idea or belief that it's not available to us. And that's what this is going to change. This is going to change that thought processing. When I have done this in a group before, we get amazing testimonials. Even the first day, you get people that go, oh my gosh, I made a shift. And when you make a shift, you start manifesting different. When you start manifesting different, all of a sudden you have all of these doors and windows that were open to you all the time, but you were not able to see clearly through them. And all of a sudden the veil is pulled back and it's like, oh my gosh, opportunity, and opportunity just floods you. So that's the other thing that we'll be doing, is we will be sending out, with everybody's permission, the testimonials of what happens through that. So you can be part of the cumulative. You can be part of that generating, that manifesting, generating idea of, I am ready to receive, and I'm going to pull all the blocks away so that all of that goodness can come to me. So that will be 6 weeks, literally 6 weeks of Gwen sending you. She's going to douse how often we all need to, as a group, how often we need to get those frequencies. And I'm so excited because I've done this 2 different times with a group, and we had amazing results. So I'm so excited that we're going to involve a larger group of people, because we know what happens when just 2 or more come together. We're going to have, hopefully hundreds of people in this journey. And if it's something that works out and people really like it, then Gwen and I have talked about even doing something like this on a quarterly basis, where we start allowing you to come in, and we change the dynamics if we need to, based on what people need and what the group needs. but then offering it just as a quarterly thing where you're involved in kind of an, an alternative to that attraction of doing it on your own. You're doing it as a group. So, um, I know that's still kind of elusive. I know that's a really brief explanation. It's still kind of elusive. We will definitely get more information in your hands on what it looks like as we move forward and get closer.
Well, I'm gonna share something, because we're also gonna blow your mind with things you can do with your Healy that you would not even think is possible. I haven't personally seen any videos or anyone talking about some of the stuff that we're doing on the training videos that I know will make everyone think outside the box and go, wow, you have a very powerful thing here. So that's something also to look forward to, because whether it's making remedies here in your house, or making remedies remotely, or working with your pets, or things that aren't really taught in any instructional videos that I've seen, I think that is going to be something that you guys are going to be like, wow. Another thing is, I'm looking at the agenda, which, like I said, was sent on email. I put it in the chat. If you're on this call tonight and you're not on my email list, please send me an email so I can put you on the list, because then you get all of our announcements. Secondly, I sent out, if you are on my email list, I sent it Sunday night, the advanced workshop information, the agenda, the link, the registration information. And so maybe if it went to your junk or spam, you might want to check that. There's a few things on the list that are like, even just like one sentence, just like working with morphogenetic fields, just NLP access cues, which is how people learn and retain information. Like each one of these is like a nugget, like it's like one line, but it's so big as far as how to understand how people's brains work, what makes them tick. I use them all the time, and I know Maria does too. Two of the things I want to talk about specifically that are my topics is German New Medicine. German New Medicine is like the advanced course on emotional links to everything, especially cancer. That's how the research started, was emotional links to cancer. And I'm going to get into hot and heavy, plus provide you a 27-page type document that I created that has to do with the emotional links to specific issues. So it's not Louise Hay stuff, which is the more basic emotions. It's the deep rooted stuff, like why people have UTIs, why people have interstitial cystitis, why people have cancer, why people have this or that, the link to how their mind and psyche is working. That's kind of a big topic. But another one that sounds like, well, I don't know what this means, is like advanced homeopathy. There's a side of homeopathy we covered in the basic course, which is, potencies, how to find your best remedy, how to find remedies outside of the Healy, but you can use them with the Healy. We talked about those in creating the custom remedies and using ABC abchomeopathy.com. All that's in the basic course. So you don't want to be limited to the 30 or 50 remedies in the Healy. You can go like way out of that, which you're going to want to do, because those 30 or 50 may not be adequate for what the person's needs are. And that's nothing against Healy. It's just that there's so much space in there, but there's so much more you can do if you have the knowledge. But on advanced homeopathy, it gets really into the potencies and dilutions, which we didn't go into a lot on the first course. But actually the personalities of homeopathy to me is super interesting, because like, I'll give you an example, and this is going to be about a 12th of the people on the call, is that there's, in personality of homeopathy, it's called your constitution. I happen to be sepia. Sepia is just the name of my constitution. Sepia is a young person, is a person who likes to dance, who's kind of like very free spirited, might have wanted to join the Peace Corps. All those things are true of me. And then as people get bogged down with work and kids and money and businesses, then sepias are like tired old women, or they feel like tired old women, and they don't have the spark anymore. They don't have that shine in their eye. So you could think of like homeopathy constitutions as like being out of balance. Like a sulfur is skin issues, but there's a sulfur personality type that is going to lean towards skin issues when they're out of balance in their life. So we're going to get into, that's just two things, but we're going to get into a lot of subjects that probably most of you have never even heard of or thought about in this way, but it's going to give you that additional ammunition to be able to go, oh, okay, I know how to fix this. Oh, okay. Because then you could take your homeopathic constitution, put it in the Healy, send it to yourself to balance you out, and you just wake up different. You just like go, wow, like, is this even possible? Maria, do you want to share any of the other topics that you're covering, like just a little whatever on them?
Well, one of the big ones that I use a lot is creating a shield for people, just when they're, going to be going into situations where they, either family or something like that, that's going to be a little bit harder, where you can get roped into old tape playing and that type of thing, is creating a shield. And it's a really simple, it's a simple task to do, but it's not an easy task to do. And we did a video on it, and it isn't easy to create. Get your left and your right brain synced together, but a lot of the tapes we play are right or left brained. They just are. There's dominance there. And so to get you into a place where you're not receiving those negative tapes when you go into that situation, then we have to bring the left and the right brain together. And so we did a video on that. It was kind of funny because it's hard. It's hard to create the dynamic of both the left and the right brain working together. So that's one thing that I'm really excited to share, because that's something that anybody can do just sitting on the edge of their bed in the morning. If they've got to go somewhere and do something, they can create a shield against the negativeness that might come to them. So it's those little things like that that we just use in our daily stuff that you're not going to find in a book. You're not going to find that written somewhere unless you've done some training like we have that have specifically found it. So, or discovered it, or it's been taught by somebody. So, yeah, it's things like that, little things like that, that I think are going to be really cool. And yeah, I even learned, Gwen and I learned from each other the whole, the whole time we were together. We're like, I learned something new today. And it was a lot of fun because, we're constantly expanding, and that's where want you guys to be, is in a place of constantly expanding and reaching outside the box.
Yeah, we did that technique that Maria's talking about. I know that Chris and I felt like retards because we're like, it's hard, but we were like going, okay, it's like trying to rub your belly in your we were like, it was pretty funny because it was harder than it seemed at first, but I'm sure it gets easier as time goes on. But we were like, what?
Well,
Like,
and the one thing that Gwen had a great idea is that all of the videos that will be intermeshed in our PowerPoint presentations will also be available on a private YouTube channel alone, so that you don't have to go through, listen through all the morning series to find that one video that you're looking for. So I think that's great. She's gonna, have all the videos that we did just available, and you can just tap in and go watch them.
yeah, so we thought that would be good. So if you guys have questions, please ask tonight, either when we get to open questions, either just unmute yourself or raise your hand or put it in the chat. Do you want to move on to another topic now, Maria?
Sure. Yeah, what
Anything
do we
else,
want to talk about?
Dot?
No, I'm just really excited. I'm excited to start pulling it all together, and just having all of you there. I'm just really excited for that.
Yeah, me too. And honestly, the prosperity module alone, some people I know that are practitioners are charging as much as we're charging for the whole workshop just for a prosperity module. So you're getting all the information plus the prosperity module plus the recordings of the weekend, which is now 3 full days. And it just so happens it's not a Friday, that there's a frequency Friday, so it won't interfere with anything Healy's doing. So anyway, you can tell we're excited. We just loved it. Me and Maria decided that we're soul sisters. We could hang out together and just like do anything, and it would be a lot of fun. So I can't wait to be back in Colorado. I guess the next subject let's talk about is the free resonances or free devices, because I've had a lot of calls since maybe the last 2 weeks, started when I was in Colorado and more now. Because when people are getting their free devices, what they're finding out is it has the same username and password as their original account, which makes sense because it's your account. But also there's some little tricky things about putting it on another device and which device and all that. So I'm going to start with what Lindsay and I figured out, and then Maria can add. Lindsay spent this morning actually trying to use my new device on her phone and on my phone with my existing device. And what's true that people are reporting, so I'll just confirm, is that if you use it, you're using the same master key and you're using the same login for the Blue Dot app. So your client data is going to be on that login, because it's assigned to you. Now, in my case, it doesn't matter so much because I already bought a separate one for my mom. I'm not loaning this one out. it was just an extra one for me, you know, and I do have one for me and I have one for Eddie now. So my dog. So I'm not in the boat of being worried about it. But some people who were wanting to give this to the extra one to their son or loan one out to clients, you guys just need to think about it. If you're going to give the extra free Healy to somebody, then you want to make sure that you set up an account for them with Healy, and then they need to put in a support ticket to properly transfer that free device to a new person so that they have their own username and login. And in the meantime, Maria and I talked about this right before this call, they can use the Pink Dot app. It's just the Blue Dot app, and it's just family members. No one's going to care. You know your kids and they know your date of birth, place of birth. The only time I think this really matters is if you're like a practitioner and you have a bunch of people on your Healy and you are worried about privacy, which really the only privacy issue is the name, date of birth, place of birth, which anyone can get on anybody on the internet, honestly. If I wanted to go pull up any of your name, date of birth, place of birth, all birth and death records are on the internet if y'all don't know this already. So it's not like that's a big secret. And it's not like their top homeopathic remedy that showed up is really health privacy information. But it's just something to consider that if you have 20 people on your Healy and you give your free resonance to somebody else and they log in, they're going to see the client data list because they're using your master key until it gets assigned to a new person. So Maria, do you want to add to that? That's kind of what we talked about earlier, but do you want to add any suggestions?
Yeah, so I don't know that, I don't know what Healy's intent was in all of this. It obviously was not thought through very well, which we talked about earlier as we were kind of ranting to each other. So this is what my intent of having that free device the entire time was, oh my gosh, I have a free device that I can put in someone else's hands. Never once was I thinking, as far as a client perspective, um, of allowing them to download the Blue Dot and have access to the cloud and the master key and all of that. I never once even, that was never a thought process in my head. It was that I have a free Holistic Health Plus that has all of the programs available so that when I send it out the door with somebody and they download the Pink app, they have everything at their fingertips. I can maybe show them on my resonance what it looks like to scan, but then not having that will entice them. That's an old car game. My husband's was a car salesman. You just don't give them everything. You show them what they can get, you send them off, and then all of a sudden they want to order. And that's exactly what's happened with us. I do know that there are people that wanted to give their free device to a family member. This is where the snafu comes, is that the only workaround that we can see right now would be for you to, if that family member does not have a member, if they're not a member, have them sign up now because it's free for an entire year, or have them go in and create a customer account under your website. And then either through member or customer, you can go into the back office and create a support ticket saying, I have purchased unit serial number, blah, 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 from username so-and-so. Could you please put that serial number under my username and my email associated with Healy? We don't know how long that will happen or how long it'll take to have that happen. Our experience shows it's going to be a while. But in the meantime, they have a Pink Dot Holistic Health Plus that they have complete access to. So that's the only workaround that we can think of, is eventually being able to transfer that serial number of that free resonance over into somebody else's name where they've signed up as a customer or a member with Healy. So we know that's going to bring up some kind of sour stomachs for people because they'd either promised or whatever. But I don't know that there's another workaround, because one account having two resonances is going to show the client list on on both of those. So frustrating, yes, we know.
Well, and I think it's also important to remember that people can use the Pink Dot app. So in the meantime, you get the transfer official. And like I said, if my mom got the free resonance, which I had already bought her a Holistic Health Plus, but let's say she got the free resonance, she doesn't care that me and my dog are in there. I mean, I've reset my thing so many times that, clients go in there and then they get deleted because I'm deleting it to show other people stuff. So it's not like I'm tied to that list, but I know some of you that have called me have 30, 40, 50 people in there. And I know that that's a hassle to, you don't want people to see that list. I get it. But then just use the Pink Dot app and the free device. And also if you have a second free device, and we've said this for a long time, that you might consider getting an inexpensive Samsung tablet or another type of device. You don't have to have, Wi-Fi. You don't have to have a paid like cell phone, but you can have another device that you can put that on so it's dedicated. Because at this point, if I want to run the Healy on me and I want to run the Healy on my dog at the same time, which is now evenings, you have to have two devices, because you can't use two Healy devices simultaneously on one like electronic device. So I can't run both of them on my iPhone at the same time. So you can get like a Samsung tablet for like $110. And I saw that Daylight, we're actually responding to you. I just saw your message come through. We're responding that Lindsay did look into this today, and we're answering that question. So there is no way to have that second master key assigned to another person or to another device within your login and your Healy account, because your Healy account, your username and password is tied to your master key. Your master key is tied to your client list. And if it's within a family, it shouldn't matter. But if it's outside of a family, and if you have clients like health clients, and then you want to give your free one to a family member that you don't want to have access to your health clients, then you need to do what Maria just said and do a proper transfer using the Healy back office. And if that person doesn't already have a Healy account, then that's free. You just set up the Healy account and then put in a support ticket. So you can put in a support, you can do a Healy account and support ticket and they don't have to buy anything. Daylight saying, who's this video for? That video was not helpful for what the question was about the second free device. I don't know if Maria saw it. I'll send it to her, but Lindsay and I found that it wasn't useful whatsoever. She said,
I haven't seen the video, so I don't know.
Yeah, it was Max, I think, of talking about the, several devices, but that wasn't answering the question of a free device and trying to either loan it out or give it to someone else and protecting your client data. That didn't address that at all.
Oh, okay. So to go back to this, did Lindsay try to set up your free resonance with the user at test.com? User one or whatever it is at test.com. Did she try to put in the test master key to see if it would go?
It didn't give that option. So when she tried to use my free one, what happened, instead of it saying save the master key, it makes you import a master key.
Because because in the realm of Healy, your master key has already been downloaded to a device.
Right.
Because it's all connected. Gotcha.
Right. So that's how we determined that you're not going to be able to use like the not whatever that was, the demo or beta master key, because it's not actually letting you import. It's trying to log you into the one you already have. So
we don't want to give you the impression that we are giving Healy a pass on this, because it is disruptive and disturbing, and it's just one more thing. We're just seeming very calm about it because we had a phone call an hour ago discussing this pretty heatedly about how stupid this is, that they can't somehow designate two different residences, which obviously require two different devices, and that wouldn't interconnect the client list. So please don't confuse our calmness. We're just trying to give you options. We understand the frustration and in some people's cases, anger, because they maybe felt like they were misled. But until we started getting free devices, we didn't even know that this was going to be an issue. So
right. Couldn't
have
known it. Got them. Maria, as we're talking out loud, I am thinking of a little workaround. What would stop someone from just setting up a totally dummy account? Like I could set up a Gwen Foster account because my other one's under New Vision, and me set up my own second account, which is not another person, and require the transfer from one to the other.
Yep. We talked about that, because you set up your own account, you just aren't going to use it. Or if you have a family member that you were going to give or sell your resonance to, then have them set up their own account, or as a client or a member. So
Well, what I
any of those, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about setting up my own dummy account. I was just thinking about doing it for someone who wanted to give it to their son, which is one of the scenarios that I got. So I wasn't thinking about me doing it and setting up a second account just to have its own password and username. Like if you were going to use it as a loaner, I still
Right.
agree with, yeah, I don't think I would get into the Blue Dot app as a loaner just because I think it's too much information as a loaner.
Yeah, I give them a teaser. I show them what it looks like to be able to scan and what you can do with it. And then I send them out the door with, with their pink dot downloaded and show them all the different files and programs that are available to them, and then talk with them over the next day or so. I mean, I just have a gentleman that took one home before the weekend, and he called today and he goes, I want to buy a Healy. I mean, it was just because he's had it available to him even at the pink dot. Now, I don't know that he'll buy the resonance specifically him, but it doesn't matter. At this point, he's been exposed to it. And that's really what you want to do with that free unit anyway, if you're a business and you're just trying to use it as an advertising tool or a rental or a loaner. So
Exactly.
are you gonna cook us dinner? What are you gonna do?
Well, I'm actually trying to give Eddie some dinner because he's pacing and going in and out of the kitchen. Eddie is number one around here. So whenever he doesn't bark, but whenever he needs something, I have to jump. So it's kind of like jumping.
So I'm looking
Yeah,
at the chat. It says, do you need to go through support to set up a dummy account? No, you just need to go into your back office and underneath my organization where it says register new partners, just go in and register either the family member or yourself with a different email, different username, different password. And then you can just, I don't even know that you'd have to, well, you probably have to place yourself at some point, but client at least isn't going to get a yearly fee attached to it. The member will eventually, you'll have to, but really all we're trying to do is get get the email and the username attached to that new serial number of your new device. That's kind of what we're trying
but
to accomplish.
you have to continue it. You're just trying to get it set up.
Just set up. How many devices can be linked to a holistic health unit? So what I do is when people bring their unit back, like when this gentleman will come back, I will have him then delete his pink app, even though it's really not associated with my serial number. It's been scanned into his phone, but I'll have him delete it. And I think you're right. I think there's up to 5. I think you can have 5 phones attached to one specific Healy unit. But I have them, just uninstall their pink dot, and then that just releases my unit. If it's still in the cloud under their device, it just releases that. The transfer is then the transfer once established. So basically the support ticket would be, I am purchasing this Healy with this serial number and I need it transferred to my account with my information. And so that's what that would be. Okay, the Abundance app is part of Gwen's New Vision software program that she uses. It's a little more involved than the Healy, and I think almost as involved as Time Waver. It's a pretty unique software program that she'll be demonstrating on how to do that. The Shield is going to be, someone asked, how do you set up a Shield? That's going to be in the seminar that we're putting on, so there's a video on that. And then I'll also do a PowerPoint along with it. Okay, so you can only loan it out 5 times. You can only have it on 5 devices at once. So I can only have that serial number entered into somebody else's IP address, i.e. their phone, 5 units at the same time. So if someone uninstalls their pink app, it releases that. So not that you can only load it out 5 times, but you can only have it on 5 devices simultaneously. So if they bring the unit back and I have them uninstall their pink dot, I've just released that one unit.
Yeah. Can we talk about Deep Cycle real quick?
We can.
So I had a few questions about Deep Cycle, and I don't even know now where I heard this. Maria, you might know. It's been like with me since the beginning somehow. Maybe I heard it on a call with Martin. But what I'd heard about Deep Cycle that I want to share is that you're not supposed to do the Deep Cycle until you've had the Healy for a little while. And I think that's why it doesn't show up on the Healy at first. Like the first week you get the Healy, it's not there. It shows up like on the third week. So my recommendation is you go through the gold programs, you know, for a while first, a few weeks at least, and everybody's different. So this question keeps coming up because of detox. If you're doing the gold programs and you're having a reaction, like I mentioned earlier, then you need to back off or slow down or drink more water, or maybe there's lots of things that you can do to help facilitate detox. But sometimes you just need a break. Sometimes you need to let the rash get better, but just know that when you start it back up again, it's not going to be weird if the rash reappears, because the way I described this on the call I had yesterday was, let's just imagine this. You have 2 pounds of candida in your body. Candida is like, it can be solid, it can be fungusy like kombucha, but kombucha gets big in your body. It's not just a sliver. It can be yeasty. It can be lots of things, but let's just say you have 2 pounds of it. Let's say you do the Healy Gold Pure and Release, and let's say you have a yeasty rash for like a week that's uncomfortable, and let's say an ounce of candida came out. You still have 1 pound, 15 ounces of candida left. So by you stopping the detox, you've just done nothing. You haven't accomplished anything because you stopped because you don't want to be uncomfortable. But you still have almost 2 pounds of candida left. Those 2 pounds are going to stay in there, or they're going to multiply by eating carbs and sugar and grains and wheat and all that good stuff, or alcohol, or you're going to slowly get rid of it to where it's not a problem. But if you do nothing and you're afraid of it, you're going to get no beneficial results. Okay. So whenever you go think about the deep cycle, you're going into another layer. So you're going into something that is going into, you know, the next level. So it'd be like doing like a really basic cleanse, like a beginning level cleanse, a really beginner thing, and then going into a deeper. You wouldn't do deeper without doing the first level. So it'd be like doing a colon cleanse before a liver cleanse. So I haven't seen specific instructions, but my personal recommendation to you guys is don't get into the deep cycle until you've done the gold cycle programs for a few weeks, maybe 6 weeks. And if you have an uncomfortable experience, you probably went to the deep cycle too soon. Or if you have an unappreciated response with the gold, you shouldn't move to the deep if you're still having die off from the gold, because again, you're going to next level. So you don't want to do something till your body's ready. I think Americans are always eager, like fast, 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 fast. We want it now. We want it yesterday, but that's not how it works. And you got to realize how the body works is kind of in layers. And sometimes it's okay to take a break. You know, if you're having a lot of die off and it's really uncomfortable, then just take a break, but then go back. And then when you're feeling kind of stable from the gold programs, then go the deep cycle. I've been using the deep cycle for quite a while now for me and my doggy. And there's some that I love. I love Renewal. I love Clean All. I love Breath of Life. I love the cardiac one, the cardio one. I can't think of the name of it right now. I use them every day. So, but if you do like first, second, third application, I'm about to fall over. You do first application first, then go to second application, then go to third. You don't do like all of them at one time, because those are the different layers again of detox and healing. So after you do the gold programs, go to first application, then go to second, then go to third. And if you have specific questions about that, let me know. But some people have asked about the deep cycle. When do you use it? How long do you use it? What do you have to do first? And that's just what my answer would be. Do you want to add to that, Maria?
Mine is exactly the same. And I think I agree with you. It doesn't come right away, because I think they want us all to get into the gold programs of Nuno Nina. I think, you know, what he has is remarkable and amazing. And really, you have it all in the gold programs. We just like more. And so I have run the kidney all female. It's amazing. The kidney all female helped somebody with kidney stone pain that she couldn't get in because of COVID. And we put electrodes on and we ran kidney all female, and literally within 5 minutes, she was bending over. So we have seen some amazing things with all of those. I know Gwen has seen amazing things with her dog, Eddie, with the Breath of Life. So those are definitely there. And then what we have to remember is that every single person is going to respond differently to detoxing. Some people will go through it and it's a breeze and there's nothing. And then there's other people that are like, oh my God, I had diarrhea for 4 days or longer, or I had horrible bad breath, or, you know, my BO was all of a sudden horrible. I mean, when we detox, it does stress the system. I don't think we can stress that enough, no pun intended, is that detoxing stresses the system no matter what you're doing. So definitely heed that air of caution with the deep cycle and do it briefly. And then don't hesitate if you're doing it or if somebody else is doing like even the first application and they start to feel uncomfortable, just stop the program. You don't have to continue. You know, don't have to do the whole thing. So just, yeah, take it easy.
Maria, can I ask
Mhm.
a question? It's Julie
Sure.
Parker.
Hi,
So
Julie.
I thought I saw in the training, the workshop training, at first I thought for parasites or for candida that we were supposed to do pure and release. Then I thought I saw in the workshop material a print screen that said do pure and balance. So should we do all three, or is it which one specifically, or pure and which one, balance or release or both?
Well, since we don't know
Hertz.
what Hertz frequencies are attached to all of those programs, obviously it's proprietary for me
Yes.
and Nina. So since we don't know, I think every person is going to be a little bit different. Pure and release are sort of the gentle and a little bit more allowing of release. But
Okay.
all of the other ones are super supportive. What I personally do for parasites, though, is I do immune
Mhm.
and intestines. I mean, that's what I do for parasites, especially if somebody has already had, you know, they've already done a couple of the gold cycles, but I have no problem putting somebody on pure and then having them run the immune and the intestine all in one day, as long
Okay.
as they put a couple of hours in between and they see how they feel. And I think that's another thing, another misnomer, that people will just run program after program after program after program. Don't do that unless you know that your body's not going to have or need a recovery period in between. But like I sent that gentleman out the door and he's got some vascular issues. And I'm like, just run one program and then give yourself 2 full hours to see, how am I doing? Have my symptoms gotten better? Have they gotten worse? Did they go away and then come back? Where am I? Am I feeling good before I even think about starting another program? Most
That's
of the
a good
people on
point.
the
Because because of timing, sometimes I can't. I mean, I only have time like either in the evening before I go to bed, or like first thing in the morning, or like noon or something. And I'm trying to get programs in while I have time, because if I might have to use one of my devices for something else, and I can't actually do that, or I can't be interrupted. So, or I'm running something for someone else. So, I've been guilty of that. So, thank you for pointing that out. Not running too many at the same time, or like back to back. But I didn't think about running the goal for so many weeks first and then jumping to the deep cycle. I was waiting to do the deep cycle, and I did it for the first time yesterday, just the first app, all the way through. Oh my word. Looks like Maria just left. Anyway, thank you for that, both of you.
Glenn, I have a 78-year-old that I've been doing remote on. He's had chronic pain for the last 4 years, but since I've been doing remote, it's moving around his body in different places. And then I have him come to the home, and I've been doing the pain and the local pain. And the fact that the pain is moving around the body, the apps that I'm doing is strictly gold. Learning from memory, because he says he has trouble remembering things, pain, and then 5 different the homeopathic apps. Does the fact that pain is moving around the body, like for instance today, he came with some upper hip pain, and when he left, it was serious pain from his hip in the middle of the spine up to the shoulders. In fact, he said he could hardly even get up. And he didn't have that when he came. So am I doing too many apps?
You might be being too many, but that's also a common issue, is the body's waking up. So one thing I would tell you about that is so this is very common, especially in older people that have had a lot of suppressed issues, is a Russian Skanar person told me this, which I found to be very true, is that as the body has had traumas and injuries and old football things and whatever, car wrecks, and really they never got the appropriate care, the body starts walling off things to deal with them. So like, for instance, I had a bad car wreck and I had no feeling in my eyebrows and forehead for like 30 something years. And I mean, none. You could stick a needle in there and I couldn't feel it. And I had about 300 stitches across my face because of hitting a windshield. And this has happened on several clients of mine, that whenever there's a reconnection made, all that old injury and all that old stuff is still there. It's just walled off. Like literally the body can't heal it because it can't get to it anymore. And that's a coping mechanism or coping strategy by the body. So when you start doing things like frequencies or PMF devices or Skanar devices, you're kind of waking up the body. You're waking it up to realize, hey, there's issues. There's things that need to be resolved. And so what happens is sometimes something will flare up, and sometimes even quite extensively or extremely, and it'll be, like these new connections were made to old problems. And then it's like, oh, that's like a jolt of electricity, or that's like fire. And it's actually a sign. It's actually a good sign, but it's hard to convince people of that when they feel like you're making them worse, because they don't really understand how the body works. But I've seen, like, I remember when I had a Skanar device done on my forehead, the Russian lady had it set to the highest setting. So it would be like 100 on the Healy, but 100 on Skanar was like, my skin was moving. Like I could feel my skin moving from the electricity was so strong, but I actually couldn't feel the electricity at all. I could feel my skin doing something weird, like from here to here. And then all of a sudden, like after about 40 minutes, I could feel it. And it felt like I put my finger in a light socket. But before that, it took 40 minutes to wake it up. And then I had some weird things going on for a few days afterwards that weren't very comfortable. And it's because all this old damage is now like awoken. Yeah. I even shortly after that pulled a piece of glass out of my forehead that had been in there at least 35 years. So wow. I think that could be one thing that's happening, is that the body is making connections to things that have been shut down. And that's that feeling of numbness or tingling or coldness, or things a lot of people experience, like with neuropathy and old and chronic pain issues, because the body walls off all that stuff as a way to survive. You know, if you had that kind of pain like the day I had the car wreck forever, that's not good. Your body couldn't deal with that for 30 years.
So what do we do? Do I back off, or does he just go through it?
I'm going to let Maria tell her opinion, but from something else that Maria and I worked on, a lady with an old bicycle injury, is, it's best to kind of push through it. Okay. Already making the connections, but when someone's having an aggravation, it's sometimes hard to convince them to push through it, like to get relief. How long
will it last?
What?
How long will it last? 2 or 3 days, or?
Well, it depends on the person. Okay. What's all happened to them. I mean, okay. that changes from person to person, depending on what the injury was, how long ago it was, did they have surgery or not? There's a lot of factors that would affect that. Maria, do you want to add?
No idea. It could be months.
I don't know if I would think it would be months. I haven't had a case where it took months. If it's more like the initial thing, but you want to keep supporting it, not like get it aggravated and then just ignore it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Maria, do you want to add?
I told him different things would come out, and that made sense to him. But and I hope that he's able to, get in his car and drive and so forth, because he said that it was worse than he's ever had it in his back. So.
Okay, Maria, want to add to that?
Well, and I think a lot of times we are waking up different energetic lines that have been walled off or blocked off by the brain. So we have to remember, I mean, when I'm working with, like, for instance, either the Healy or the Beamer, and I'm working with somebody who has neuropathy, I have to warn them that there may come a time where they're actually in more pain than they've ever been in, or they think they've ever been in, because the brain is so good at protecting us and only taking us to the limit that we can, and it'll start shutting things down. So we have to remember that sometimes nerve endings and complete workings of the system are starting to wake up into tissue that's not ready to be pain-free yet. I mean, that's the crux of it, is that all of a sudden we're giving the body this go ahead to move forward. Let's go. But maybe that tissue isn't ready to be pain-free yet. And so we just got to push through. So on my neuropathy people, that's a big thing, is that, you know, they will all of a sudden have massive pain. It doesn't last because obviously we're continuing to work with them to get blood flow and to get energy back into that tissue so that it can heal and that tissue can be pain-free. But in that little crux of time, and it can be different for everybody, there is the potential that they're going to be actually experiencing more discomfort.
Would you suggest me add any other app like Circulation or something?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I really like the Circulation Meridian. I have seen that move the dial for people a lot, with especially joints and muscles and tendons, ligaments. I've seen that really be helpful. And that was kind of like a serendipitous coincidence find with my dad's shoulder, because he wasn't getting anything changing. And then all of a sudden I just was like, let's just do Circulation. And I just happened to switch to the Meridian sheet, or the program page that said Circulation. And I wasn't even thinking at the time Meridian, I was just thinking Circulation, and I plugged that in, and oh my gosh, what a difference that made in 10 to 15 minutes for him. So I've had people do that too as an add-on, is just go to Circulation Meridian. But then also the Circulation in the bioenergetics is great too. It just seems like, wow, that was a Holy Spirit moment of just go to Meridians and click on Circulation, and it's worked for a lot of people. So that's definitely something you can add in. Absolutely.
And we're talking blue or pink?
That would be pink.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right now it's long distance for the next 3 days, so I guess I'll have to use blue.
Yeah, you can do that under the blue programs as well. I want to switch gears to a text, Maria, that I promised I would answer on tonight's call because it was so many questions, and he might have sent it to you too, but this text came from Alex. He said he has a few questions. And the reason I wanted to do it on the call is, number one, it was very long. Number two, this is questions I get every week as well that we've also covered on past calls. But the question is such as, if you're someone who had a stroke almost 2 decades ago, can they use the Healy? Yeah, there's no contraindication that you can't use the Healy with stroke. In fact, I would definitely use the stroke with Healy. So you could go into the Circulation programs and use the Advisor app, but definitely use Circulation. And really, there's a lot of support you can do with strokes. I mean, outside of Healy, I would definitely use an oxygen product. I'd also make sure they're not acidic. There's a lot of things I do with stroke patients to try to get fast recovery. But namely, you want to increase blood flow and do it naturally, because the other thing is they're on blood thinners, and then you have to be careful. And then the next question is, and are prone to easy bruising or on a blood thinner. Now that's the trick, is when they're on a blood thinner, I don't think it says in the contraindications they can't be on a blood thinner. But whenever someone's on a blood thinner, if you're improving circulation, that's kind of saying the same thing. It's not really the same thing. But anytime someone's on a blood thinner, you have to be careful. It's not officially on the Healy not to use it. But I mean, they're not even supposed to eat vegetables, which is pretty stupid. So if someone's on Coumadin or one of those blood thinner drugs, which is basically rat poison, you're basically in a very fragile state. And so my advice would be very careful with the Healy or anything. Like you got to be careful even with a circulatory cleanse or ginkgo or turmeric. So you want to always go slow. And especially, he's saying later in the text that this person's over 70 years of age. I'm not saying don't use Healy, but if you don't know what you're doing as a regular person, you might want to work with a healthcare person and also go slow. Do one program maybe for a whole week before you add a second program, and work and just see. But anyway, okay, so the second part of the question is, his mother has rheumatic fever and she was young and it was a mess. It messed with one of her heart valves. Can she use the Healy? Yeah, there's nothing that says you can't use the Healy if you had rheumatic fever. So you need to, you guys have the little user booklet. It has the contraindications, or like pregnancy. It does say heart disease. It also says pacemaker. So it has a few reasons in there. We've already talked about on past calls that I would use it either way, but that's me. I would have never taken a blood thinner to begin with, but you just have to be very careful if you're going to use it, or, all that stuff. So anyway, neither person has a pacemaker or implants. They're retired and are looking to have a complete assurance of ability to use the Healy before getting a Healy. So, I mean, if someone's over 70, and I put this on my newsletter, I'm not getting my mom a resonance because my mom is using the Pink Dot app and that's enough for her. I only gave her 2 apps. 2 programs I wanted her to use, and we're at 3 weeks at that. I'm about to add a third one. You don't want to take a 70-plus-year-old person, which I don't think is old. And there's some people that are super savvy with technology in their 70s that didn't even call me for any help whatsoever with their Healy. And there's some people that don't know how to use their phone. So I don't think that's an age question. I think it's a savviness with technology question. If they don't use phone apps already, then they're going to probably not have an easy time of it. But if they're all over their phone and doing all kinds of things and ordering off of Amazon, they're probably going to be fine. But the question remains that people keep asking about heart issues. And Healy says not to use it with heart disease. I think I can speak for Maria, but I'll let her speak for herself. If she had heart disease, what she would do. But we are not giving you medical advice without you having an assessment by us. Because if someone's weak and tired and they're on Coumadin and they're not doing very well with their heart medications, they're already a huge risk of anything. They're a huge risk for anyone to work on and do anything. They're even a huge risk for their doctors, because anything could go wrong at any time. I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that is just the state of that typical client, that health client. So we want to go slow, maybe make some dietary changes first, maybe check their pH first, maybe check their oxygen levels first. There's a lot of things that you can do outside of Healy to start trying to improve their health. And that really kind of goes back to the basic workshop again. We talked about the basics on the first night. Maria, do you want to jump in on this one and give your opinion?
Yes, I do, because I actually talked to them before we got on the call, and they'll tell you what advice I gave. We forget that we can go down to 5% on any of the programs in the microcurrent. So don't forget that you can go down to 5%. And so I think this person had already run his mom. That she is the one that had the rheumatic fever. I think we have to remember with rheumatic fever, since it's part of the scarlet fever, and that means strep. So she probably has been a carrier for strep her entire life, or whenever she got this, and that will always have an effect on the heart. So anytime a baby's born with a hole in the heart, or somebody has a heart murmur, you can pretty much guarantee there's a strep pattern involved in their system. So somebody that's had rheumatic fever, you have to remember that she's probably got some deep seated stuff that her body's been hiding for a really long time. Other part of that is that if she or he, I think it's the dad, that is on blood thinners, that just means that the blood got really sticky and thick. The viscosity is such that everything isn't free flowing. Now, that's why you're on blood thinners, right? Is to change the viscosity of the blood so everything is moving better, moving more lubricated and moving better. But they've also done live blood analysis using the Healy before and after. Well, guess what the Healy does? Changes blood viscosity. It changes all of the platelets so they're free flowing and they're more plump and they're more round, and they can, that's more free flowing blood. So here we have a gentleman that's on Coumadin and bruises easy, which means he's pretty acidic and he's mineral deficient. And because they go hand in hand with acidity, and is on medication to thin the blood. And then we're going to add a technology that will also change the viscosity of the blood as well. Mm-hmm. So Go low, go slow, maybe start out with just vibrating, just having the Healy in the presence when you're running pink dot. You're still getting those hertz frequencies, you know, coming out of the Healy device. They're still super healing. Do that. But then also, if this person wants to continue with the Healy, if they've purchased it or whatever, I mean, I think one time you're not going to have an issue. But if he owns it, and let's say he wants to start doing the microcurrent, put it on the lowest setting possible, and then watch to see if he's bruising easier with less impact. You know, if he's just brushing up against something and he starts to bruise, and that, you know, that was a softer impact than before, then he needs to look at his medication if he wants to stay using the Healy. Again, it's going to be a trade-off because you're bringing something in that's helping the body find balance. Well, balance is free-flowing blood. That's where the body wants to be, is free-moving blood. And the acidity is causing the stickiness, and the medication is counteracting that. But the medication isn't helping him get healthier. The medication is just changing the viscosity of the blood. So those two things have to go hand in hand too, where you're looking at the medication. If you're going to use the Healy with the microcurrent, then you are going to have to look at maybe making an appointment sooner with the doctor. And that goes for any medication, you know, whether that's mood altering, or whether that's high blood pressure, or whether that's blood thinners, whatever that is. If it's insulin, whatever that is, you're going to have to look at your medications in a different way and get in to get tested quicker and sooner than you normally would, because the Healy is going to start making a difference. It's just guaranteed, because the Healy is going to help balance.
Also, I want to add to something you just said, because that's a lot of great additional information. He obviously contacted both of us, is that when someone's in that state, they probably still need professional help, because this is what's going to happen. People in that state are already probably have a lot of fear, because they've probably had a few episodes of something serious that have happened. I'm just guessing. They're also, if they go to their doctor is going to say, yeah, I wouldn't use that. They're just going to have a blanket statement. They don't even believe in vitamins. You know, they're just going to say, no, don't do it. So I personally think that it's a good idea to have that extra support, like with someone that is either familiar with Healy, that's a practitioner. I'm not trying to sell our services. I'm just saying some people need that extra support and confidence, because they're going to use it for a week. They're going to feel weird, or maybe their blood flow is going to be increased enough that they need to back off the blood thinner. There's just some things that could happen. So, I mean, wouldn't you recommend, Maria, that they have some professional help?
Absolutely. And the first thing they're going to feel, especially with high blood pressure and any kind of blood thinner, is going to be potential dizziness, you know?
Yeah.
So again, we need to look at all of the different symptoms. And yes, it would be super helpful if you had a doctor on board that was like, yeah, I want to see what your body does in the midst of using this new device. That's going to happen in a very, very, very small percentage of the time. So really, it's going to be going in after the fact and saying, can you check my blood? I think I'm over medicated, and having them be checked. But for somebody, and again, you know, what Gwen said in the 70s, you know, my mom is, you know, she went ahead and upgraded to the resonance because she can't wait to get it so that she can scan. She and my dad are 78 and they're doing really well. And she is not tech savvy, but she has watched me over my shoulder, and I've had her on my phone do it several times so that she could get in the habit. So again, you don't want to just throw this in somebody's hands that maybe they're not tech savvy, and then just expect that they're going to know. You're going to have to handhold them. So like I've done with my parents. But the big thing is just allowing the Healy to do the balancing, and it doesn't have to be done overnight. It took a long time to get you to that place. So even with Gwen not using any of the microcurrent cables, she is still showing on her watch, when her watch is working, that her variability and everything is increasing. So she's recognizing that even using the hertz frequencies and any of the vibration that the Healy itself is giving off from the microcurrent is assisting her. It just is. So we know that that works, even if the Healy never came with cables, even if they just said, oh, we don't do that, and here's the box here. Oh my gosh, what a great asset it is, because it's going to help your body find balance. Can you overdo it? Yes.
Yeah. And I think some people are overdoing it, which brings me up. I'm going to show my screen real quick. I have a picture of one of the people that contacted me recently that's having a healing crisis. And she told me she just can't go on. Her face isn't in the picture, so you guys aren't going to know who this is unless you recognize her maybe. This is what happened after. Can you see the screen, Maria?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so this is what she sent me a picture of, and this was basically on her neck, her legs, and her arms. And it was worse in the folds of the arms, like in this inner elbow and under her arms. And it was very itchy, swollen, hot, and also painful, she said, especially at night. It was affecting her sleeping. So when someone comes into using the Healy and they don't have this happen, I mean, they don't have this issue, they think this is all inside the body. And then they start using the Healy and something like this happens, the normal response would be maybe run to the emergency room. They're going to put you on a steroid most likely because they're going to think it's an allergy. And then you've just suppressed the stuff coming out of the body, which is in the body. I don't think on this picture, she sent me, there was another picture, I think, of her legs, but you can see also her neck up here at the top, and you can see that it's swollen and looks the same way. So when I'm talking about this, what we were talking about earlier, I remembered I had a picture, and I've had several people send me pictures. This is typically a candida reaction. And this means that it's got to come out, so you can support it with like maybe a chickweed salve or aloe or something natural that's not going to be suppressive. But if you push this back into the body, which is what the doctors are going to want to do, then you've, like I said earlier, you didn't accomplish anything. But I wanted you guys to see a picture so that if your team, your downline, your family member has this kind of reaction, I would look at this as a good sign. But it doesn't feel like a good sign when someone's hurting. I get that. But in natural medicine, this would be considered a healing crisis.
And then what I would like to add to that, Gwen, is everything that's happening there on the skin is happening in the gut. So you have to, whether it is candida, or I've seen parasites do that, where you've got like, it looks like a sunburn around the neck like that. But then also she's got open lesions on one of her arms. So now she's just had, if it wasn't staph, she's had staph introduced. So she's not a happy camper in the gut. And so that would be, megaspore, your probiotics, your prebiotics, start doing kimchi, kombucha, anything you can to start changing the pH and the bacterial colonies in the gut.
Yeah, this is something that needs some work, but someone else can do the gold programs and not have any reaction at all because they've already maybe done the work, or maybe they don't have parasites and candida. Not everybody in the world has that. So that's why one person can do the gold programs and go like, oh, no big deal, like me, because I've already done 1 million cleanses. So I didn't have a bad experience. Did you have a bad experience, Maria, with the gold at all?
No, I didn't. Although I do have, there are certain things, just because I've got to do more cleaning with my liver, that I will have, a tendency to go, oh my gosh, that I'm sensitive to that. And I never used to be. So again, when you're looking at the Healy and you're looking at cellular waste and toxins that are coming out into the interstitial fluid around the cells, creating an inflammatory response, then we need to look at the liver too, because the liver's being taxed right away, right off the bat, and then the gut as well. So the whole digestive system just needs to be addressed in this.
Exactly. There was one other topic we didn't get to yet, and then we should just do questions. I think we didn't mention the watch subscription. So I just want to say that, let me get back out of this, and unless you guys have questions on apps, but I just want to give an update that, and I've already said this to Maria, is that before I left for Colorado, I had put in a support ticket that my watch subscriptions had become inactive, because I think we covered this on the last call 3 weeks ago, is that they were not collecting the money for the subscriptions. And I confirmed that by looking at my credit card statement, that they billed me for the subscriptions, June, July, August, September, June, something. And then exactly at 3 months later, which when you buy the watch bundle, you get 3 months of subscriptions. And on the 90th day, my watch subscriptions became inactive because somehow their computer system didn't bill me for that next month. And I still don't have a working watch. So if your watch subscriptions go inactive at the same time that your 3 months is up or your 1 month or whatever, it's because the recurring payment part of the back office is not working. But the other thing I want to share is I did put in a support ticket, and when I got back from Colorado, my support tickets were gone. So today I put in another support ticket. So if you put in a support ticket, you might just want to check into your back office and make sure that your support ticket is still pending, because my whole history of support tickets were erased for some reason. And it's not a big deal because most of them had been responded to. There was like 2 old ones that had not been responded to, but really it's my watch subscription that right now is the issue. I still can't use it, but I want to explain why. So if your stops working or your downline starts saying, hey, my watch stopped working, that would be the first question I would ask is it on the anniversary of their 3-month purchase of the bundle, or is it their 1 month is over having to do with their, like, let's say bought an individual watch app like the Advisor, then when the 1 month is over, what's happening is it's just not automatically billing. And I haven't heard when that's going to be resolved. Maria and I talked about that before the call also. I just wanted to give you a heads up because you're going to get questions.
So when you went into your back office, Gwen, were your support tickets literally gone? The screen was blank? There was nothing there?
It was blank. It was like I never put in a support ticket, and I had about 7.
I just got into mine, and I've got several. I've got one still open, and I've got several that are closed. So mine are still active in the back office. So I wonder if that was just a glitch. Hopefully it was just a glitch on your end.
Like, I'll show you, but I sent you a screenshot a while ago. I don't know if y'all can see this, but this is my support center in my back office. And the one today showing the watch subscription is not working is definitely not the first support ticket I put in.
Right.
But there's no other ones listed there. And when I went in earlier, when I got back from Colorado, it was blank, like a brand new back office.
Interesting.
I don't know why that happened. I don't know how to fix it. I don't even know if it happened to anyone but me. Maybe I'm just like not living right. I usually say I am living right. But anyway, I just put in a new support ticket today and sent an email to try to escalate it since it's been 5 weeks. But I just want to let everybody else know that you might check your back office if you have a pending support ticket, just to make sure it's there, because I don't know what happened. I mean, I haven't heard it from anyone else. I'm just saying you might want to check.
If my brother just has arteries for a heart problem cleared, he is long distance. Is that very risky? Doing vibrating long distance? No, that's helpful in balancing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to look at some of the in the chat.
And if you guys are on the call live, you can unmute yourself if you want to ask us a question too.
Brad just said Healy switched payment company and credit card information was not transferred. Yeah, we just don't know how long it'll be before all of that is, or if we have to resubmit.
Yeah.
One thing that I do want to add while people are on the call from the first workshop is that the company that was supposed to send out the certificates and mailed them improperly. They were supposed to put a cardboard rigidity piece in the envelope so that people weren't getting mangled certificates. If you received a certificate that is mangled, folded, whatever in any way, please email me so that I can have that reprinted. I don't want to necessarily make them reprint everything if a lot of people's got there, but we had some going to Singapore. Who knows what that's going to look like when she gets her ticket. I can also send them out through PDF. I really wanted people to have a physical, but this is kind of one of those things. If you want something done, you should do it yourself. And that's kind of where I got with it, is that I needed to do it, and I should have just done it on my own. So
I put email in the chat in case, because people tend to send it to me if it's a certificate. And if you didn't receive one, if you told Maria you had to give her your name and address, but if you didn't receive it or it was mangled, you should let her know. But if you didn't enter the address by the deadline, she's going to send you a digital copy.
And I don't know exactly when they sent them, but I think they went out the beginning of last week. There was a holiday, they went out, I think the Friday or Saturday prior to that. And then there was a holiday. So we just need to give it a couple of more days, but she just put my email up in the asklightlife@gmail.com is my email. So if you didn't receive a certificate, give it a couple of more days, but then please don't hesitate to email me if it's mangled or if it's folded. I had pictures sent to me and I just was in horror. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like a mangled mess. So frustrating. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
So.
tried hard, and Maria did all the work on the certificates, thank goodness. But anyway,
Not
when
well,
you guys-
obviously.
When you guys are ready, I have a question.
okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is Lori. I had rheumatic fever when I was a kid, and they told me that maybe sometime when I was around 50, I might have to have a valve replaced or whatever, but I'm the healthiest person I know, besides smacking myself sometimes and getting bruises. I'm the healthiest person I know, so what should I do? Should I talk to one of you guys? In fact, I haven't been to a doctor in I don't know how long.
The big thing for strep, any kind of strep pattern in the body, is vitamin C. And isn't it interesting that people who bruise more frequently or more easily need vitamin C? So,
Okay.
if you're doing really good, I mean, that would be the one thing that I would add in, is I would find out what your bowel intolerance is, spend a day where you can be home by the toilet, take a teaspoon of ascorbic acid every hour until you get gurgling in your stomach and diarrhea, and see where that's at. That could be 2,000 milligrams, that could be 8,000 milligrams, and just kind of see where you're at, and then back off a little bit. And then you can test that every so often, or you can muscle test it at that point. But at least that gives you a baseline on how depleted you might be.
Okay,
And if
what did you
wait 1 second, if you did the basic workshop, I would also go through all the handouts, especially the nutritional ones that Maria provided, because there's other things. Well, candida can cause easy bruising, so can low iron. So there's multiple things that might show up in those handouts that might point to easy bruising. So you could have indicators that show up if you do all those assessments.
Okay.
Right. A lot of them come back to vitamin C, but yeah, definitely you can at least find out what's going on in your system.
Okay, cool. I'll do that before I do anything else. Thanks.
Gwen, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
First is, you've mentioned that you obviously have a Beamer also. I've used the Beamer, and I'm wondering, a lot of the people that I'm going to be contacting soon have Beamers and have Beamer businesses as well. And I wanted to know, I mean, obviously, PEMF machine would be good. They all, I'm pretty sure, good for circulation, sleeping, emotional well-being, and a bunch of other things. I know the Beamer can do a lot of things, but I'm wondering, it seems to me that the Healy is something you can program much more accurately than the Beamer. But I'm wondering, how is it that you use them together? How do you find that there's the maximum benefit using them together?
Maria uses Beamer too. So this is the deal, is I think Healy has a lot more specificity having to do with the specific frequencies and programs. So you have a lot more choices than the 10 levels of Beamer. But if I had a stroke or my dog that I'm dealing with asthma, I'm going to use the Beamer and the Healy. I use both on my doggy, and I use, like, on the way to Colorado, I have the thing with the Beamer that is the travel charger. So, I mean, I'm sitting on the Beamer mat in my car, which lets me drive forever, and I'm fine. I mean, literally I can drive 17 hours with barely stopping. And that's because I have the Beamer sitting under my butt, and then the mat's on the dog side. So the mat's on the dog bed under the sheet, and, and he's thriving and having, energy and all that. But if I wanted to do something more specific, I mean, the Beamer only has 10 levels, and you can't say, I want to focus on the liver. Now you can put the pad in the area of the liver, but you're not using any frequency. So there's a lot more frequencies programmed into the Healy. I think Healy is more cost effective, you know, for using more frequencies. But like I said, if I had a client who's a stroke recovery client, or a person who has COPD or oxygen deprivation issues or circulatory issues or peripheral circulation issues, I would also recommend Beamer, because that's what it does, is it improves the microcirculation. And I even asked Maria this question when I was in Colorado, because my dog did have a little crisis there last Wednesday. And it was like, do I use, I mean, she told me, but I kind of had the feeling too, not to use them both at the same time. So when my Beamer's not running with my dog, and I don't use the Beamer all the time with my dog, not daily like I do the Healy, but I did on the car trip because I had all the time in the world. But with the Healy, like I'm doing the sleep program, I'm doing programs that we use every day. So my answer is I love both of them, but the Healy is just so much easier because it's portable and you don't have to carry a computer around and all this stuff. But if I had a stroke, or my mom had a stroke, or someone in my family had a stroke, I would be putting them on the Beamer and having them go through the programs, because I do like it a lot too. Maria, do you want to add to that on the two?
I do. So both of them are going to change the blood viscosity, because Beamer is set up to do that with the layering of the sinusoidal waves. But the one thing that the Beamer does, and they go hand in hand, so this is awesome. It's like hand in glove. The Beamer, the signal specifically activates the little sphincter muscles clear out at the microvessel level. That's what it does. That's the beauty of the Beamer. That's what it does, is it changes how those little sphincter muscles keep pushing blood out to the cell. And you've got, you know, a 12 to 16 hour window of time that's functioning better, which means that you're getting cells that are getting better oxygen, micronutrients that aren't compromised, and you're getting waste removal a lot more quickly. And then you have cells that, because they're getting healthier, are going to be asking for blood more actively, so that the efficiency of the entire circulatory system will advance with the use of Healy, with the Beamer. The Healy gets the cells to talk better. So if you can that's what you're going to have to look at when you're talking to people who maybe own a different PEMF device, whether it's Beamer or not, is the Beamer specifically gets blood flowing, but the Healy gets the cells communicating better. So I do the Healy or the Beamer first. I get blood flow to the cells. Then I start working with my Healy during the day, because now I have better blood flow. Guess what? Now I'm going to have cells that are communicating better, but they're also receiving better oxygen, higher oxygen concentrate. There's better saturation that way of micronutrients, and I'm getting waste removal. So now I'm using the Healy to get better cell communication, so that the body can start dealing with some of the other issues related to cellular dysfunction. So to me, they are hand in glove. Now I know that there are some companies, Beamer being one of them, that really doesn't like Healy very much right now. So you might end up having some people be a little bit resistant, and you just have to say, okay, because, you know, that's just kind of an issue that they've had. So that being said, I believe they work just hand in glove. I think they are a perfect combo, although I don't sit on the Beamer with the Healy running.
Mhm.
Yeah, and some people are asking about, well, they can't afford both. If you have the Healy, use the Healy for circulation, because it's already awesome. We're just answering the question about Beamer. Also, can the circulation
and
program...
also
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Also, my dad, who has a Beamer, it was the Healy who's saving him really from having shoulder surgery. He's had a Beamer for almost 3 years, and specifically working on his shoulder. But it was the Healy, because the Healy's so good with arthritis. It was the Healy that really changed the shoulder around. So again, you're working with two different devices, and I think the Beamer has specifically helped him with overall general circulation, but it was the Healy that really made the difference in his shoulder, and that he won't have to do surgery.
And also, I think there's the thing about the Beamer being used for sleeping at night, people sleeping on it. I think that probably is a big help. I have found, though, kind of getting into my own question here, that I've been working on the Healy with an issue that I've had with my left knee, some injuries that I've had and pain and mobility issues. I had gotten the Beamer specifically to solve that issue, and it really didn't do much. But because, as you say, the specificity of the Healy is such that I've been able to get, I think, a much faster improvement on that issue and on other issues too. And I think that as you were mentioned earlier, the circulation meridian and the circulation bioenergetics is different. You can feel it differently, but I think they're both phenomenal. And when I was testing my particular situation, what kept coming over and over was circulation, liver, kidneys, and then some intestines and a few things like that. So I came to the conclusion that this was all basically detoxing and so forth, and it's been working very, very well. But anyway, getting to another question that I had, I'm a little confused about the watch. I haven't gotten one, and I've been reading about it, but I got the impression that you can have the resonance and buy the nutrition program, and that it would work as well as if you were using the watch. Is that correct?
I'll answer that. It's not working as well because the watch is telling you what to do. So if you have the digital nutrition program and you're just going to pick stuff, somehow you have to know what to pick. And so that's the only thing I would say about that is the watch. The point of the watch is to tell you, well, and also the advisor app, both are meant to tell you, hey, you need to run this or phenylalanine or tyrosine, because when you get 120 nutrients, sorry, I'm in my car because I got to walk my doggies, but when you're testing method, how do you know which one to do? So I think that's the next big question for the people that buy the apps individually. Also, Maria and I on a past call have talked about the cost. If you buy the watch bundle, you've basically paid, if you buy the watch bundle, you've basically paid for the watch through the savings on the individual subscriptions in a few months. So in 4 months, I think it's 4 months we calculated, you saved enough.
Maria, we can't, Glenn, we can't hear you.
Yeah, hold on, let me.
Breaking up.
So I'll step in here. So the watch bundle being $506 before your tax includes the connector fee, which is $22.
Wait, I can't hear you guys. Maria, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Maria?
Yes, I can hear you. Can
so
you
that's
hear me?
weird. I can. So what I was going to say about that answer a question, but it cut off because I switched to my car, which it normally doesn't do that. Anyway, if you buy the watch bundle, you've paid for the watch in about 4 months, because the watch bundle is about $30-something a month cheaper on the app subscriptions than buying the app subscriptions separately. So in a few months, you've basically paid for the watch. I don't remember, we calculated, maybe it's 4 to 5 months. But then after that, you're paying a monthly fee that's less from then on. So if you buy the individual subscriptions, for all of that. So it actually, in my opinion, if you look at the math, it doesn't make sense to buy the subscriptions without the watch. I mean, whether you wear a watch or not, you're getting the subscriptions then from then on at a cheaper monthly price. So within a year, you've saved money and you've got a free watch out of the deal.
Well, even if you are not a watch wearer, but you just want to once a week run your heart rate variability test to find out what programs the watch would recommend for you. At that point, you don't have to wear the watch anymore. You could just basically use the watch and the watch app to tell the Healy what to run for you in those watch programs that you get. So the nice thing about getting the watch bundle is you get the watch programs, which are great. And then you get the digital nutrition, all of those programs. So normally with the watch connector fee and the Heal Advise search app and the digital nutrition, all of those combined would be $150 a month. If you buy the watch bundle, you will, on that 4th month, you'll start paying basically $100 a month. So you're getting about $50 off to have access to it, whether you continue to wear the watch full time or not. You may just want to wear it while you sleep just to see, am I getting REM? You know, you may just want to use it as a diagnostic tool at that point, intermittently. You don't have to wear it all the time. So, you know, we might want to do a little bit more on the watch videos and stuff like that. I don't know that there's a whole lot out there right now. I know, Gwen, you've done a lot more on your Zoom calls. We may need to pick through those and just capture the essence of them and put them together in a nice string.
This is Bonnie.
I've done many calls on the watches, so that would be something maybe to put on ATP website.
Right.
This is Bonnie, and can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Daylight and I have been sitting together working on our watches, and we would so appreciate some more support on that. Even starting as simple as let's start with the watch itself and how to move through the different screens. And then when you touch, what are we looking at before we even get into the interface on the phone? My heart rate is the same whether I'm walking fast or doing nothing. So we're trying to figure out what we're doing wrong and not even knowing where to go to learn more about it. So if we could do some future calls that specifically drill down and help us, we're doing everything we can and we're lost to some extent. And that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, we've done calls on them before. So what we can do is bring it up on another call. I can't right now. Maria can because my watch isn't working.
No. It's too late right now. I'm just saying.
No, I don't mean now, but I'm
future...
talking about even next week without my watch working. I can't. So
got it.
Maria can do it, or we'll recycle the other Zoom calls that we've previously done. And if you've been on my email list for a while, you would have already had those.
Yeah, but I wasn't, and I didn't get my watch until recently. So if you could get those calls in one place under the watch, we'd be happy to go do it. That would be a great starting point for us. That would be lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, this is Angela. How are you? I wanted to piggyback on that because I didn't get the watch yet, but I did get the nutrition app. And I'm kind of just trying to figure out the best use of that. That's one question. And another question that I have is, I'm confused about the commissions for last month. Someone under one of my downlines bought who already had the Healy Health Plus, bought a resonance, and they upgraded to the resonance and also bought a another Healy Health Plus, and I didn't see any commissions for that. So am I missing something? I'm not quite sure.
Maria, I'll let you tackle that one.
Thank you.
What do you want me to? I'm not a happy camper about it either.
No, I didn't know that I was muted. Sorry. I was like already into the explanation. Okay, so the only time you receive commission, the direct commission on a sale, is the first time that business center orders, and that's it. The next time they order something, you get the point volume. So you don't get commissions every single time someone in your downline purchases something new. We get the commission on the first sale, and then we start accumulating points off of everything. That's why it's so important that the company eventually puts in place that every business center is required to have a certain PV every month through subscriptions, either by their customers or themselves, because that will be generating, again, more point volume for your legs all over. So yes, you will not receive commission on those sales, unfortunately. That isn't something that is, I don't remember just seeing that. I think it's slightly inferred in the compensation plan, but it's never said, it never says. And I know that Gwen and I were a little discouraged and disappointed because we were having people hold off on buying watches, in which we know that then our people were telling their people to hold off on buying watches with their residents. We would have received commission off of not only the residents, but the watch bundle or the watch in addition to, you know, the Healy that they purchased. Because they purchased the Healy first and then we told them to purchase their watch later, we only get access to the points that are generated. We don't get commission on that second sale. So definitely that was a frustrating moment when we realized that.
Okay,
Which
yeah,
was like a month.
yeah, I did not realize that. And one of the people that bought the resonance could have, you know, he bought the resonance for somebody, and they could have bought their own, I guess, and then I would have got the commissions. I really didn't understand the compensation plan, I guess.
Yeah, if they would have purchased both of them at the same time, you would have received commission on the entire sale. You would have received the full commission on the entire sale. So that's, you know, that's something to think about moving forward with those of us who are business building, is to say, you know, are you interested in getting the watch? Are you, you know, what is it that you are looking for? Because, you know, just knowing that you're going to get PV later.
Yeah.
And also, if that person was buying it for someone else, honestly, and we found out this kind of just like a month ago. So besides what Maria just said, and the fact that you're not getting sales on add-ons, they really need to set up another Healy account, because the username and password and all the stuff that we're already figuring out needs to be separate. So if you're buying one, this only really matters on the Resonance, not on the lesser models, because I bought a Holistic Health Plus for my mom, and it's just the Pink Dot app, so it doesn't really matter because it doesn't require a login. But when you're talking about resonances, each person that's going to own and use the resonance should have their own Healy account. And yes, you would have got paid. Well, he would have got paid, or like a rebate on the commission buying it for someone else, and then you would have got paid as like a second level thing. So it's the better way to do it is to have the resonance go under a different Healy account if it's for someone else.
Yeah. So what happens now? Okay, so he's gonna upgrade to a resonance. You know, he already upgraded to a resonance. Then he bought a resonance for someone else in the family. So how does that get tracked? Yeah, that's going to be complicated with the master key and all that. Is the master key the same for his other one?
Maria, go ahead, because I got a fire truck and background noise, so I'm muting myself if you don't mind.
No, so, okay, and I was trying to get through the chat. So go ahead and just ask that question really briefly again.
Okay, so he upgraded from the plus to the resonance, right? So then he got a master key. Then he bought a resonance for somebody else in the family, and so, but that resonance is not his. And then he also bought a Healy Plus for somebody else. So I know, totally screwed up.
Okay, so the Healy Plus is easy. The Healy Holistic Health Plus is easy. The person can just get it. He'll just know that if there's any issues with warranty or information, he needs to go back to the person who purchased it. The resonance is different. So the person who he bought it for, are they also a member, or are they a client customer in Healy? Or are they not associated at all with Healy?
They are associated with Healy as well.
They are. Okay. So then we just need to have that person go into their back office and submit a support ticket. And they're just going to put, I have purchased a resonance from so-and-so, username, email, phone number. The serial number on the resonance is this 010101, whatever the serial number is. Could you please attach this resonance to my account, which is my name, my username, my email, my phone number, so that they have all the information that if they need to contact the purchaser or the new owner, they have all that information. Does that make sense? Have the person that is receiving the resonance, not the person that bought it, but the person that's receiving it, go in and put a support ticket in.
Okay, totally understand. Okay. Okay, got it. Thank you so much. And I have one other question. If you already have a Healy resonance with a master key and you get another one, because I got a free one, is it the same master key on every one of your resonance?
Yes, and that's how we started this call, being a little bit disgruntled because it is the same master key. So you basically will have two resonances assigned to your account unless you designate that new Healy through the back office support ticket to someone else, whether that is a dummy account that you set up for yourself so that it can have a completely different email, username, login information. And then they'll reset the master key then associated with that account and the serial number. Or the person that, if some people decided to give their free resonance to someone else and the same thing happens, they have to create an account somehow with Healy in order for that serial number to be associated with their account, and they'll have a new master key as that progresses. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes. And so I actually want to keep my free resonance. What I'm trying to do is I want to keep one for myself on my phone, and then I have a mini iPad that I want to, kind of use on other people. So I would have the same master key, I guess. Is it okay if it's it's the same user ID and password? I don't really mind. It's mine.
It is. Yeah, the client list will be the same on both. It'll show up, the client list will show up the same on both. So what I've told people to do, like I did with mine, I have a fairly large client list. So, and I'm just, I use mine for myself. So I just put a 1- in front of my name. So now when I pull up my clients, guess who's at the top? Me,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And also your situation, the lady that's talking, is the ideal situation with two resonances, because if you have one on your iPad and one on your phone and you have the same master key and it's all synced, then you have the same client database on both. That's actually the ideal situation. Okay. It's only when you're trying to give it to somebody else or loan it to someone else that what we were talking about earlier is the problem. So your situation of using both of them is perfect. I have a tablet and my situation is the same. So it doesn't affect me negatively because I'm not trying to give it to somebody else.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't hear this. I was a little late, so I missed the beginning. But
you're fine. Some other people might have missed it too, so that's perfect.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay.
I'll add on to that because this happened to like two people that I know. If you're a person that had some tricky master key things going on in the beginning, and like some people I know had like 3 different master keys. I know this is not very many people, but it has come up. If you had a master key and then you had a temporary master key and then you had a master key reset and you have them all saved, and then you get that second Healy and you retrieve a master key and it's not the same one you use that you're using currently, then what I just said about your client data syncing will not sync. So you'll have one client list on your iPad or tablet, and you'll have a different one on your phone. That if that happens to you, then you've used 2 different master keys and you're not using the same master key. So if that's happened to a few people already, I know one person's on this call that it happened to. So anyway, if that happened, then you need to start over and just make sure that the same master key is being used on both devices.
Okay. Yeah.
This is Daylight. Ask a question.
Hi, Daylight. Yes.
I bought my Healy watch when they had a promotion that allowed you to get points for your purchase. And I think that would apply to the dual commission. And that, I did not see that credited to my account. Did anyone else? Do you remember that special? You needed to order it by the end of August. And if you did, they were going to give points to you as the purchaser, as a special.
I don't know that you got points. Your upline got.
That was the special. That was the special. You get points. Normally you don't, but they were giving you a special and they were doubling the point amount.
I didn't see that. I know it went from 350 to 600 or something like that, but I never saw anything that said you get the points. Do you remember, Maria?
I know that they were saying it was 600 instead of 300, but you always get your points. That's why I'm confused. I'm thinking your points always go to your weakest leg.
Right.
But not on your own purchase. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the compensation plan, it talks about that if you have a purchase and a subscription, and let's say you need 50 PV to qualify. They're not doing that yet, but they will eventually. And let's say that you need 50 PV to qualify your business center to receive commissions. Let's say you accumulated 250 PV. They will take 50 PV for your qualification and then move the other 200 point volume to your weaker leg.
Right. Right. And those points were never applied to my weaker leg. That's what I'm saying.
Well, Maria, Daylight, what I'll add is I sent an email to everyone in the world because I didn't either. And I don't know, Maria, you can confirm what you got, but I never got the bonus watch points. Okay. So I never got 600 for any of the people.
Yeah, because that was the special.
Well, I put in a support ticket for it. I sent it to Tammy. I sent it to Rick. I got zero response from anybody.
Okay. Well, I just put in a support ticket. I just was checking it. Sometimes I don't know if these things are just me or if it's, everybody. So thank you.
Well, mine wasn't on my watch sale because I didn't buy my watch during that promotion, but I did sell like 5 watches during that promotion. And I went back and looked and I sent an email on the names of the people that bought during that period of time. So anyway, so far, I don't think that's been resolved. And I think if someone had sold the watch during the period of time that you're talking about, when it was 600 points, you should check your commissions. And I think that was in September, early September or end of August. And if you didn't get paid for it, I would suggest you put in a support ticket because I don't think they figured that out yet.
I did. I copied the report, so, in the back office, you have a listing of your own purchases. So it actually,
you have it of your own purchases,
and it
really
shows
your commission statement.
Well, that's the thing.
Okay, I'm not a crappy little dog.
I'll bring him in, okay?
I'm going to mute all again. So if you're talking right now, you can just unmute because I know it's a little noisy where I'm at, but there's other people talking in the background. So Maria, if you don't mind, unmute, and Daylight, unmute. I didn't mean to be rude, but there's people that are also having a conversation.
Thank you. I think I'm okay. Yes, there's a discrepancy between, what they're showing as my purchasing on the back. They show the points and then the commission report does not include it. So it's that simple. And I put in a support ticket. Thank you.
Okay. And you looked in your points as well, your point report?
Yes.
You looked there too. Okay.
Yeah.
Maria, did you look at yours? Because I don't know that I ever heard if you got paid the extra points.
Yeah, I'm looking right now to see if mine is showing up. And again, I don't have my, I don't know when I purchased it. Let me go back here and see if I can find out when I purchased mine.
Well, it's not when you purchased, it's during that promotion period of that end of August into early September. It was like around Labor Day.
I just wanted to see when I purchased my watch, if my points were added somewhere in my point history. So I'll go in and look at that.
Well, specifically, did you get 600 points is the question.
I ordered on the 31st. I don't know if I beat the time thing. I got 368 points for that. Let me add them up. 368 plus 50 plus 20 plus 150 plus 12. Yeah, I got 600 points.
Okay, so maybe you can tell Daylight exactly what report you're looking at.
Well, right now I'm just in my orders and it's showing points. So now I need to,
I know,
now
but
that I
that
know,
doesn't mean you get paid
know.
for it.
I know, now I need to go to my payouts and my points and I need to find out if I can find them. So that's what I'm going to do
Exactly.
next. Yeah, I just needed, I didn't know when, I couldn't remember when I purchased it.
Yeah, that was during that August 31st, because I think that went into Labor Day, that particular promotion.
Okay, so that's going to be.
Does anyone else have a question while Maria's looking? Because this is kind of good information to have, because I can put in another support ticket too, since mine got cleared.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't
I have a
have
question.
any. Yeah, I don't have October. I don't have August 30th. They don't have the points then. It doesn't go back that far.
Right. That's exactly what I did, the process I did today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that should
Yeah.
have been paid by now, since we're in mid-October. That would have been on the October 15th cycle at least.
Yeah. So let me look. Oh, I was in 2019. It would help if I was actually in 2020. Okay, let me look.
That's weird. You can go to 2019. Eddie, come on, buddy.
Okay, let me go down here and look and see.
Does someone else have a question while we're looking at
I do.
commissions?
Maria, if you don't mind, about your new class, which is going to be an advanced class, and I haven't taken the basic class, and it said that you could take the advanced class without taking the basic class. But I'm wondering, are there certain things that one should do to prepare for an advanced class from the original class, or just sort of have most of that stuff is going to be covered in the advanced class?
Well, everything is sort of independent of each other. Everything we're covering in the advanced healing is different techniques, different things that we have found helpful, clearing techniques that we use with our clients every day. The initial one, the natural healing workshop, was all the basic. We knew that there were a lot of people coming into Healy that don't necessarily have any type of a medical background, maybe haven't researched the body. They just needed to know basic information on how all the systems work together. So that is an amazing workshop just for the handouts alone. You get like a half a ream of paper and handouts of just tools and techniques that we've done. And all of it kind of comes together. It was a really nice synopsis of all of the information that we've gleaned over the years about body systems and how they function together. And that's super helpful when you're working yourself with Healy and with others. The advanced healing workshop is literally all the really cool techniques that we've found helpful over the years that we still use with our clients. And they are completely interdependent of anything that we did, or completely independent of anything that we did in the first workshop. However, the first workshop information is very helpful. I'll put it that way.
But you don't need to know that information to get something out of advance, because even though we have a little bit of a focus on a few things that we did talk about in basic, like the pH of water, or body pH, or Himalayan salt soleil for Candida, those little things that we just turned into a demonstration, because in the first one we really didn't do any demonstrations. All the information is totally new, and you don't have to know the other stuff first. There's some people that haven't even finished the first workshop because they missed a day, or maybe they just bought the workshop like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and they may not have had time to participate yet. So it's totally meant to be separate, so people can get something out of both of them without having done both of them.
Wonderful. Well, that's very, very clear. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you doing all this. But you also reminded me of one other thing, which is with the Beamer, you can put the pad around water and make it alkaline. And I understand that there's a way to do that with the Healy. And I'm wondering, how is it that you do that?
We're going to cover that in the advanced class. Not only how to, I don't know about making it alkaline. We didn't do that as an experiment, even though we can easily do that, but how to turn something into a remedy, a glass of water or a bottled remedy or something. We're going to show you how to create remedies with the Healy, like remedies you would take orally, but also how to do it at a distance, to where your sister in Las Vegas needs a remedy, how to get that remedy to her, like to actually take.
Wonderful. Do you have any idea when you're going to cover that?
That's on day 3. Making
Oh,
remedies
that's
is
in
on
the
day
class.
2.
Okay, I thought you meant you were going to cover it on Tuesday night sometime.
Oh yeah, no, we're not going to cover on Tuesdays because, well, I mean, we could in the future, but it's each section is like an hour or over an hour. And it's not just showing you how to do it. It's talking about like why we do it, how it works, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah, it's just a lot on these Tuesday calls because with the questions and just basic topics, I mean, we're already at 2 hours now and it's hard to get everything covered even on a regular Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. We always cover an enormous amount of ground. It's really great.
Yeah, that's how they seem to go, right?
Just ask a quick question. Did you give out the date of when the advanced training was going to be?
Yes, November 13th, 14th, and 15th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, all 3 days. And it's in the newsletter I sent out Sunday, but if you're new to my email list and you request to be on the email list, I'll resend that information again with
Actually,
a copy of this Zoom call.
I'm not new to yours, but I did not receive the newsletter. I don't know what happened, so unless
Well, you should. I sent it Sunday, so if it's not
Okay.
in your junk or spam, you might want to send me an email and make sure that we have the correct email address.
Okay, so you said the 13th through the 15th?
Yes.
Did you give the price of the training?
Yes, it's $249 and there's a registration link in the email and it includes the prosperity stuff, which is going to go on past the workshop, which is going to require extra time on our part to get you guys set up in that and do the support. But it's all the videos. Like before, we didn't really have videos. It was the videos of us, but it wasn't like additional videos. So this time you're going to get the videos separately of each technique or each demonstration. You're going to get the handouts like last time. You're going to get the PowerPoint presentations. I mean, you're going to get the recordings of all that stuff. And then after the live event of that weekend, then until the end of the year, so 6 weeks, we're going to be doing some extra cool stuff like the prosperity stuff, the new vision stuff. And I'm going to give you all that information, and Maria's going to give you all the information on those 2 things so that you could work with that, like with other people. Like if you're a coach or a health provider, or you just want to help your family, just like with the GG numbers, the quantum K numbers, all this stuff that we use, the ohms numbers, we're going to be sharing all that information with you guys. So it's not just us doing it for you or like we're the holder of the information. We're like literally sharing everything that we have.
That is amazing. I was at the first one. It was priceless.
That price does include, that $249 does include the 6 weeks of being included in the attracting prosperity part as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so worth it. So I definitely will be there. The first one was amazing, was over the top. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a good commercial. Thank you.
It's true. It's real. It's true.
I totally agree. This is Dana, your big cheerleader in Kansas City. You guys, why the heck hasn't Healy included your trainings in my academy? You guys are doing so much in the field to help us understand how to use it diagnostically and help others. I appreciate your hearts so much. That's just
Thank
me
you
from
for that.
Kansas
We
City.
don't really want to be under their thumb either. So it's probably good that we just stay on our own and you guys find us.
Yeah,
So
we
there's a lot
tend to
of
get
red
in
tape.
we tend to get in trouble sometimes because we don't ever say anything that's politically correct.
So
that must be why I love you then so much. Yeah, I do the same thing.
Is Christina still on the call? Christina, can you unmute? If she is. She had
Yes,
asked.
I am. Yes, I am.
Okay, so you had some questions about deep vein thrombosis, and they're kind of intermixed in all of the chat. So can you just ask your questions and we can see if we can get them answered?
Okay, I just wanted to know what programs would be best to use if you have deep vein thrombosis. Is circulation good enough? Or I don't have a beamer, so.
Okay, let me.
I would do detox. I would do the gold programs because deep vein thrombosis is not just circulation. Any circulation program would definitely be on my list, but also detox, because deep vein thrombosis is actually like varicose veins, but exaggerated and plaque buildup. So you want to also think about detox. Also, if I have a deep vein thrombosis client, I'm going to work on pH, oxygenation, blood flow in general, alkaline foods, what's your acidity level, a lot of stuff that we also covered in the basic workshop. You want to definitely focus on the basics, because deep vein thrombosis is congealed blood that's kind of pulled and also plaqued up. And so you want to, to really have an effect doing that, someone can, just like with varicose veins or hemorrhoids, which is varicose veins, you can't do something for a few weeks and turn that around. It's kind of like looking at the body over a 7-year game plan. How's it going to look in 7 years? Is it going to be cleaned up, or is that still going to be happening? So my approach
Gwen,
is more of a whole body approach.
I just pulled up varicose veins on the Heal Advisor search. They don't have deep vein thrombosis, but Christina, if you want to grab a pencil, I can give you what this shows as the top 5 or so different Healy programs.
Okay.
Tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, so the first thing that shows is lymphatic system in meridians 2. So we're looking at the meridian lymphatic system, meridians 2. The second one that shows up is liver function in bioenergetic balance 2.
What, bio
2, liver function. The next one that shows up again in meridians is connective tissue. Meridians 1, connective tissue. The next one that shows up is in the fitness program, weight. And then the last one that shows up before I hit other programs is toxins in the bioenergetic balance 2.
In biogenics 2?
Mm-hmm. Then it goes on to more circulation and fitness. And then 3 of the gold programs, which is balance, care, and peer.
Wait, balance,
care, and peer.
Care, and pure.
And then it goes on 3 more, liver and meridian 2.
Wait. Liver, meridian 2.
Yeah, so the first one was bioenergetics. This one's meridian. Clean all in the deep cycle.
Love that one.
And then also third application in the deep cycle. So that's what shows up in the Heal Advisor search app.
Okay.
For varicose veins.
If you've never done the first app, would you start with that and then get to the third?
I would.
Yeah, I wouldn't, and I wouldn't do it first. I would probably intermix the gold programs in with those top 5, kind of seesawing back and forth, run a couple per day, programs per day with several hours in between, hydrating really well.
Okay, so that last one you told me, the third app in deep cycle. Oh, that's in the deep cycle.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And how can I purchase the first workshop, and how much was it?
The first one was $169.
Yeah, and in Gwen's, did you send those links? I think you did with that most recent one, didn't you, Gwen?
I did send the old one because it was already too long. So this is what's going to happen. Like tomorrow, I'm going to send you guys the recording of tonight, so you don't have to ask me for it. I'm going to send it automatically after I update the email list with the people that want to be added. I'll send tonight's Zoom call recording with me walking over Katie, and I'll send the link to register for the advanced class in case you didn't see it, and I'll send the link to register and purchase the recording of the basic class, which is basically the same thing. It's the same information, and you get everything in 5 segments of recordings, handouts, everything. That one was $169. I'll send that one separately. And then you guys can register and do that one whenever you want. And then if you can attend live on November 13th, 14th, and 15th, you can. If not, you'll get the recordings automatically. If there's one you have to miss, don't worry, because you're going to get the recordings and all the little mini videos of the techniques and instructions. So like some people have plans, I get it, or you have to work on Friday. You can always go back and watch and catch up, because each section is even within the advanced class is independent of each section. So if you miss Friday and you do Saturday and Sunday, it's not like one thing builds on another. It's all totally separate information in each section. The only thing that we tried to do was really get into the more basic of the advanced concepts on Friday, the more intermediate, and then the really out there on Sunday. So like the remote stuff. So we're trying to build on it that way, but the topics are very different. So it won't matter. So you'll get one email that has the links to basic, advanced, and the Zoom call tonight. And I will send that out by tomorrow, I promise.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, there's a really quick question. I really want to answer. Okay, go ahead.
I have a big tennis match tomorrow, and today I played about 4 hours, and I think my knee ligament is a little stretched or overused. I've never used the bands with the Healy. I just turned the Healy on, and I've never used the bands or the electrodes. So
might be a good night to start. Might be a good night to start. What I would do is
I have the electrodes on my knee, but I don't feel anything. I have it at 100%.
Yeah, you can just do it at 35%. Are you getting a white line or is it a black line?
It's a white line.
Okay, I would bring it down to 35%, because if it's a white line, you're getting conductivity and you don't want to agitate the cells more than your brain is giving you signals for, because you want as much ATP derived from that as possible. And if any of any of the cells are agitated, it puts your body or puts those cells in a fight or flight response in which the ATP isn't as active. It almost is counterproductive. So I would bring it down to 35. And then what you might want to do when you get done with your knee, are you running like connective tissue? What are you running?
I'm running pain locally.
Okay, what you might want to do after that is do connective tissue. You can either do that in the bioenergetics or the meridians. And then I would move the electrodes up to the quadricep, just above the knee, and then just above mid quadricep, and run regeneration or muscles in the fitness program if you have fitness.
I have it all. I have a residence.
I would run release in gold, because that's also been I've had better luck with release for pain than I have any of the pain program.
I was thinking about activating. So yeah, I would, yeah, definitely.
I mean, any of those, depending on how much time you have.
Right? I have all night.
Well, there you go. I mean, then I would do all of them: regeneration, connective tissue, release. Yeah, any of those. I mean, even circulation is going to be helpful, like we've been talking about with pain issues and healing. Circulation is always going to be a bonus.
Okay, thank you.
May I ask one more question?
Sure.
Yeah.
I've been a health practitioner all my life, okay? And I've used my hands. And I've also done massage therapy. And I just spent, right before I learned about Healy, over $1,000 to get prolozone therapy, which helped. But now last night, my fingers were trying to lock down again. Can you suggest a program for that?
What's wrong with your finger? Like, what was the original problem?
I think my tendons are weak and I have arthritis a little.
I would internally increase your minerals. I would really highly suspect that you're probably demineralized. So I would add in minerals. And then what we were just talking about before would be the release, the release with your wrist straps. You could do the regeneration and fitness. You could do the connective tissue if you feel like it is the ligaments, tendons. But remember, the adrenals are also associated with the ligaments and tendons. And so,
Oh,
but
no
the
wonder.
adrenals,
I've been under a lot of stress lately, so.
yeah, and the adrenals are also fed by B vitamins and minerals. So I would increase your uptake of those to support your adrenals. And then any of the programs that are like relax or deep relaxation or that type of thing, always address the adrenals. Because if you notice in bioenergetics 1 and 2, adrenals are not mentioned, but all of the relax programs are geared for adrenals. So you can run those to support the adrenal function.
Another thing too, and this was also in the basic workshop, is anytime I've kind of worked with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, which includes muscle aches and pains, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis. There's always an acidity component, and a lot of times a low thyroid component. My
Yes,
teacher,
I have thyroid. I take medication for thyroid.
yeah, so this is what we talked about in the basic workshop, is that if your temperature is under 98, your thyroid's not managed correctly. So if someone has low thyroid, a study I have showed that 86% of people with pain issues have low thyroid. So it's what Maria said, plus the possibility of low thyroid, because that makes also things hurt. It affects the metabolism and all that stuff. But if you have acidity and low thyroid, it's hard to correct. I mean, I would, this is why we did the basic class, was that it's not just Healy's job to balance these things out with frequencies. It's also understanding what's affecting the body and what causes what. And that's really what the basic was focused on. So I would check your pH. I would check your temperatures. If you guys on the call have pain issues and you're acidic and you have a low body temperature, you're always going to be fighting against yourself to get those things corrected. And you're always going to be working on those things. And I'm an ex-fibromyalgia person. I used to have very severe pain that lasted all day long. And it wasn't until I cleaned up my diet and made changes, and I didn't have the Healy back then. So I would just suggest you also take your temperature. And it's not uncommon for people with pain issues to have temperatures in the 95s and 96s, which means it's under functioning. And just because someone's taking Armor or Synthroid doesn't mean it's dosed correctly, doesn't mean it's managed correctly. And we go into a lot of that with the basic workshop, but I just wanted to add that because sometimes it's not not everything is a Healy thing. Sometimes it's a constitutional thing. Sometimes it's a basic, terrain issue. And so if you did attend the basic workshop, I'd go back to that first day, and we really cover it in detail that night about what those 4 basics are to get your health back.
Well, the DVT was caused by a cancer operation that I had 20 years ago for ovarian cancer, and I got a blood.
And just the mention of cancer shows an acidic nature. So again, we're going back to demineralized. Minerals are the most alkalizing thing we have to counterbalance the acidity that comes in through energetics or through food and liquid. So
now,
again,
minerals covered in the nutrition program.
Okay,
there is a mineral complex.
Yeah, but I want to really hit this home here, is that I want you to think about your body as an engine. Okay, your engine needs fuel and it needs spark plugs in order to get everything working. If you have an engine that has fuel in it and you put new spark plugs in, this is the Healy. Yay, it's running better and everything's functioning better. But if you have an engine that has no fuel, which is your nutrition, new spark plugs don't matter. And like Gwen said, you're going to be fighting constantly against and in this uphill battle all the time because you don't have the foundational nutrition to support the change. Not that Healy can't make the change, because sometimes it's just an absorption issue and the Healy can help that. But many times, especially in our society and in our world right now, we don't have the foundational nutrition already in the reserve that the Healy can pull from, that better absorption can help with. I mean, we need foundational nutrition. And if you've got all that going on, that tells me that there has been a key lack of nutrition for quite a while, probably in your system.
Well, I also have diverticulitis too.
Yeah, and there you go. So you're not absorbing. Yeah, you've got gut issues.
And I would also add, and then this just is a reminder from today, because it's another issue that's thyroid related that most people don't think is thyroid related is even carpal tunnel syndrome. So most the carpal tunnel and even high cholesterol in women is almost always low thyroid. And I had a person come in today that, you know, she's on thyroid something, her temperature's in the 95s and 96s. She has carpal tunnel, she has dizziness, she has hair loss. You know, she has all the typical signs, but most people don't know of carpal tunnel being related to hormones, but it is.
And and plantar fasciitis, same thing. It's a thyroid issue.
Right. So a lot of people are looking for all these things and targeting, but what I would add to what Maria just said is that in that case of not fixing the terrain at all, and depending on the Healy, I think Healy might give a temporary result, but if you haven't made other changes, it's always going to be you're having to fix it. So it can temporarily help, but I don't think it can permanently help if the body's super acidic. If someone's drinking, you know, coffee and wine and eating a lot of stuff that's acidic, the body just can do what it can do, and then it just after that it's always trying to compensate. So it's better to give your body a break. And anyway, the basics are super important. I think anyone going through the basics and getting those things adjusted are going to have much better results with the healing. That's really what we're trying to talk about, is what else can we do to make the results with the Healy excellent? You know, because sometimes when people do the Healy and they're not getting instant pain relief, they just go, oh, it's not working. Well, what if your pot of coffee in the morning, I'm not just saying you, I'm saying just in general, that's working against you, but you're not changing that. And then you're expecting the Healy to fix that. There's only so much anything can do, you know, like overall.
What if you just have a decaffeinated coffee? Is that bad too?
Yeah, it's acidic.
It's acidic.
It's equal.
You can find a an alkalizing coffee though. Like I drink Dandy Blend, chicory. I mean, I'm not a coffee connoisseur, and I flew up my coffee, frou up my coffee. So I don't mind if it doesn't taste like a really strong cup of coffee. But you can find coffee alternatives that actually are alkalizing and have the tannins removed.
And that's the thing, is it's not just coffee. I mean, that's a better option, but eggs are acidic, oatmeal's acidic, quinoa's acidic, nuts are acidic, milk is acidic. What it causes acidity in the body, but meat's acidic. You know, paleo diets are acidic, keto diets are acidic. So it's not just coffee. I'm not just like blaming coffee, even though coffee is very acidic. It's hard to undo a few cups of coffee. Like in the whole rest of your day, if you just did green stuff, you probably still can't undo a few cups of coffee. And then if someone wine or a cocktail at night or margarita, you can't undo that either. You can't undo Mexican food. I've tried. If you have Mexican food, you can't fix that the rest of the day. You can't fix Italian food and wine. I mean, pretty much any meal with alcohol, forget it. You can't undo it with doing green the rest of the day. I figured this out a long time ago. Trust me, you guys know I'm gonna take shortcuts if I can find an easy way. And if there was a shortcut to Mexican food, I would have done it, but there isn't. So cheese, enchilada, chips and salsa, guacamole, and a margarita. You can, if you ate green the whole day and had no coffee and had alkaline water and you put nothing else in your mouth, you cannot undo that meal as far as acidity goes.
Right. Talk on Tuesday. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Where does
Say that again. Oh, I don't know if that was somebody just muting.
Yeah, we didn't hear it. Does anyone else have a burning question?
where does dark chocolate fit into acidic?
It's acidic.
It's
Okay.
acidic. It's acidifying. It has a high
Thank
ORAC
you.
value, but it's acidifying initially.
Got it.
Yeah. And like I
You
said,
guys, thank you so much.
yeah, you're welcome. Let's just say don't target one food group. Like coffee is not necessarily the enemy. Like if you had to have half a cup a day to survive, then or 1 cup a day, but just remember, then you have to drink a few glasses of alkaline water to offset that 1 cup of coffee. Then you have to have enough glasses to offset the eggs and toast, and then you have to have another whatever. So it's about balance. I don't like to target any food group and say it's bad, because I really don't like that approach. But you just have, and without testing your own morning pH, no one can really tell you what you need to do personally, because blood type O's are naturally more acidic than the other blood types. So O's are ready acidity problem, and then that's working against you. So, you know, there's an ideal diet for O's, which is meat and lots of veggies, not lots of meat, but just meat and veggies, but not carbs. And so we have to kind of accommodate, our bodies are different. A's are kind of natural vegetarians anyway, but it can't be a junk food vegetarian. And there's plenty of junk food vegetarians. I hear all the time someone's a vegetarian and I'm like, okay, well, what do you eat? And it's all crap. So that doesn't work either. So it's like for everybody, it's different. But again, if you didn't do the basic workshop, I highly recommend it. I'm gonna keep saying that because there's each part of that we talked about is so important for you guys regaining your health. If you're on these calls and you're trying to help yourself or help a family member, that's kind of what I think somehow that's what me and Maria's mission has become is we want to help you as much as we can. We want to answer your questions, but it's kind of a whole body approach or a lifestyle approach. It's not just which Healy program to run.
I have a friend on the phone who has a question and she's going to state it right now.
Okay.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I signed up 6 people when we had the promotion for $1,500, and I got a check for like $79 and a check for like $143, and one check for like $4.99, and just recently another check. But I never got a check for 6 of the same amount, which I thought was 40% of $1,500, which would have been $600.
No, during the promo, you got 36% of $750. You basically 300 each. And then if it was in the fast start, you got an extra 100 if it was during your fast start. So you should have received $400 per resonance.
Oh, okay. Well, then I was told differently. All right, thank you. So then the total should be like 4 times 6, which is $2,400. So that, okay. And then one more question. When Christina was asking you about what to do, you looked it up in the advisor. Is that something we don't have?
It's an app. It's a subscription that you can purchase. It is a monthly subscription. It's $33 a month. If you buy it with the watch bundle, then you get the digital nutrition too. But yes, the Heal Advisor search app is something where you can go in and you can type in different ailments or issues. And based on the AI of everything they've accumulated, it will give you the top programs of what would be most beneficial to run on the Healy for that issue.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys taking all this time to educate us.
You're welcome. And those subscriptions, if you haven't gone into your shopping cart and scrolled all the way to the bottom, just go into your shopping cart and look and see what's in there, because you know they have the resonance editions at the top, but then you go down into all the different apps and how much they are and all of the different add-ons, the cables, everything else you can buy. And then down below there's the upgrades and there's the subscriptions. So everything is there, but a lot of people don't go farther down in their web shop than the Healy editions. But there's a lot down there.
Yeah, I have a question. Were you able to see if you got paid on the watch bundle promo?
I did not find where those points had been added, but I don't remember them saying, I don't remember them saying that. And since we're not getting PV, I don't know how that works right now. It might be, again, like everything else, a little bit different, but I'll call Vanessa and I'll do some investigating on it.
Well, maybe we can find out and announce it next week, because I'm going to have to put in a separate support ticket, because that was one of my support tickets that got erased about that particular thing of not getting paid during the watch promo. And I had the names and stuff listed. So I would also say if you let's see what Maria finds out. But if you sold them during that period of end of August into September, I don't remember the exact dates, but it was like a 17-day period. And the points did show up under the sale, but they didn't show up under the, like where you should have got paid. So maybe you can let us know.
Okay. Yeah, I can do some research on it.
Okay, we're at 2.5 hours, so maybe we should say goodbye. And we're going to be on next week. I may have to get off a little bit early next week because I have a friend retiring and they're doing a retirement thing, but we'll be on same time next week. we'll send the recording of this and then the links to register for the workshops in case you missed it. And if you still don't get it by Thursday, then email me separately and I'm going to make sure that your email address is on my list correctly. But if you're getting my emails, you should get the one that has this information.
Cool.
Hi, Maria. I
Awesome.
see you.
Thanks. Hey, I just turned myself on because I had my phone. Lee would have been looking at the ceiling the whole time. So anyway, love you guys. Thanks for joining us. And we'll do this again. Same bat channel, same bat time next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. All right. Bye, you guys.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You're so
Thanks.
welcome.
Have a good
Bye,
night.
thanks.
Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Bye.
You guys
Thanks.
are awesome.
Bye.
He's